and Magnus Science. So the Cosmic Wonder got some new news for us. I gotta check this out. Spider-Verse confirmed by Sony president. Huge Spider-Man plans revealed.
How's it going, everybody? It's Warren. Welcome back to the Cosmic Wonder. And yesterday we were told that we were going to be getting some kind of a preview for Spider-Man No Way Home from Total Film Magazine. And, well, they kind of gave us a little bit of a preview. Not really, they teased us with a little bit. You can check out my video from yesterday to hear more about it. But we actually got some true reveals from the Sony Motion Pictures president about the Spider-Verse and about the connection that the MCU Spider-Verse is going to have with the Sony Picture universe of Marvel characters. And this is coming from the president himself in an interview with Variety. So it's pretty much as official as it gets. And the crazy thing is that in this interview, it pretty much confirms the Spider-Verse. It pretty much confirms it as much as you can without straight up coming out and saying, hey, Toby and Andrew, yeah, they're in this movie, they're gonna fight alongside Tom Holland. But there is just a ton of information in this interview, including whether or not Tom Holland's Spider-Man is ever going to interact with Venom, Carnage, Morbius, and Kraven the Hunter. In fact, in this interview, it pretty much tells us to expect the Sinister Six. So, I'll break it all down, but a reminder, only 2 days left in my Stormbreaker giveaway. All you have to do to enter, subscribe to my channel and to Cosmic Culture, and leave a comment on the video. So, if you didn't catch the news that came out a couple of days ago, Sony has officially cast Aaron Taylor-Johnson, the one and only who plays Quicksilver in the MCU, or played, I guess.
No,
Sony cast Aaron Taylor-Johnson as Kraven. Now, this isn't Kraven that's going to be in Spider-Man No Way Home. This is a Kraven the Hunter solo film. And this article starts off by talking about the fact that, yes, they have cast him as Kraven. But then this article kind of starts to mention the other characters. They start to mention the Venom movie coming out. Let There Be Carnage. They start to mention Morbius. And then they start to talk about the fact that Spider-Man, specifically Tom Holland's Spider-Man, has yet to be involved in any of these movies. And when they talked about that separation, the Sony Pictures Motion Picture Group president, Sanford Panich, said this: "We don't really think of our 900 characters as the Spideyverse. We have a Marvel universe. The volume of characters we have, wait until you see this next Venom. You don't miss Spider-Man." That's a pretty huge statement. First of all, the fact that there are 900 characters in the Spider-Man
Some strong words.
Pretty insane. But he also specifically mentions the Marvel Universe, which is the MCU, and he specifically states that you don't miss Spider-Man in Venom Let There Be Carnage. Now, we know that Sony wanted Spider-Man in the very first Venom film, or at least they wanted Peter Parker to make a cameo. However, according to the deal that they had at the time, Marvel Studios said no, because they didn't want them to confuse the two different universes. But we know since then, Marvel and Disney made a new deal with Sony. And from what we know, it does seem like the new deal is going to allow Tom Holland's Spider-Man to go between the MCU and the SPUMC. And even the president of Marvel Studios, Kevin Feige, came out and said that Spider-Man was the only character who had the ability to travel between different universes. So he's even hinted towards the fact that, yes, this is the new deal. And here's the kicker. Panich, after he said, you don't miss Spider-Man in the next Venom film, he paused after that and then he said, it'll be exciting if they do meet, right? Teasing us once again. But he also goes on to be a lot more specific when talking about Spider-Man. Now, the article goes on to talk about how Tom Holland's Peter Parker exists in the MCU, and any appearance that he might make in any other of Sony's films, like Kraven, Venom, Let There Be Carnage, or Morbius, might be a little confusing, and could even be frustrating for some fans. And they start to address the fact that it's already actually got confusing because we saw Michael Keaton's Vulture in Morbius. But here's the deal. Panich goes on to say that he understands the confusion and frustration among the fans. And although, of course, he didn't give any specific details, he did say that he expects that the tension will soon be resolved, and that greenlighting Kraven, a character who's also tussled with Venom in the comics, fills in another piece of that puzzle. He specifically states, there actually is a plan. I think now maybe it's getting a little more clear for people where we're headed, and I think when No Way Home comes out, even more will be revealed.
Okay.
And I mean, obviously, it kind of seems like No Way Home is going to be what really opens everything up. Not only the multiverse in the MCU, but also this multiverse leading into the SPUMC. And the Sinister Six is even teased here in this interview, which I'll get to in just a bit. But first, one of the most important parts that we have to talk about here is what Variety states in their article. This is what they said. One of the worst kept secrets in Hollywood is that No Way Home will be diving headfirst into the multiverse and incorporating characters from Sony's earlier Spider-Man movies that starred Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield. Alfred Molina, for example, told Variety in April that he will be digitally de-aged in No Way Home to look like he did as the villain Doc Ock at the end of 2004's Spider-Man 2. Now that right there is huge and is very revealing as it is, but not as revealing as what the supposed text originally said. Now on Twitter there are a bunch of screenshots going around of this exact same paragraph that is edited a little differently. It's supposedly what it originally said, but then Variety changed the wording. And if it's true, this is what it originally said. Instead of incorporating characters from Sony's earlier Spider-Man movies that starred Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield, it apparently said, and incorporating Sony's other iterations of Spider-Man starring Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield. That's a pretty absolute statement, and we do have the screenshots of that. And that right there is proof. Other iterations of Spider-Man. That's a confirmation right there. But even the changed version of this article is still a pretty big confirmation. I mean, they even mentioned Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield by name. Granted, they were talking about the earlier movies with them in it, but they are incorporating characters from those films into a multiverse. That's pretty much as big of a confirmation as we can get. Obviously, he didn't say, oh yeah, and Tobey's coming and Andrew's coming and all the Spider-Mans are getting together, but that is essentially what he just said. The only reason he actually mentioned Alfred Molina would be in the film is because we already know that. He already came out
What if
and
they're
said
just going to
that.
do scenes where they put time in it
Permission to
from
say
older
that in
movies
this interview. But I mean,
without
this is
having
coming
to,
from
you know what I
Sony
mean?
Pictures Motion Picture Group president. It's as official as it can get. So at this point, if Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield aren't in the movie, then wow, they really, really played us, because basically we just got a confirmation that, yeah, they are. They're taking characters from their universes and bringing them into the next Spider-Man film. And if they decided to
If
do
they're
that
not in it,
and
I'm gonna
not
be
take
pissed
the
off.
actual Spider-Man of those universes, that might go down as one of the dumbest decisions of all time. Now, we have more good news. When asked what the future holds for Spidey and Marvel Studios, Panich said this: "The great thing is we have this very excellent relationship with Kevin. There's an incredible sandbox there to play with. We want those MCU movies to be absolutely huge because that's great for us and our Marvel characters. And I think that's the same thing on their side. But we have a great relationship. There's lots of opportunities, I think, that are going to happen." Variety would go on to ask about one of those opportunities being finally making a movie about the Sinister Six, especially with the announcement of Kraven coming to the SPUMC, in which Panich said, "It's tough because I think these projects are the kind of things we have to work on in the dark. They're not ready until they're ready. Kraven is a great example because we just didn't
Yeah, I
rush
wonder
it.
what the
We could
finished
have
Kraven
made that
outfit's gonna
3+
look like.
years ago. It's just
That's
now
an
the
interesting
script's
outfit.
awesome. JC was the right choice, and we found the movie star because it was just kismet. And watching this other movie and realizing that could be the perfect casting." But Variety pressed a little bit further, asking about the Sinister Six, and after a long pause, Panich chuckled and said, "It would be very cool, wouldn't it?" And I think that that is absolutely the plan. They're introducing so many different characters into the SPUMC that it just makes sense that they are setting up the Sinister Six right now. And then when you have No Way Home open the multiverse and make it to where Tom Holland's Spider-Man can travel to the SPUMC, it makes perfect sense that that's what's going to happen. Spider-Man versus the Sinister Six. So, pretty big reveals in this Variety article. We basically got a confirmation of the Spider-Verse and the Sinister Six. And one of the best parts is it looks like Marvel and Disney and Sony have a really great relationship, which means this universe that is being created is not going anywhere. But let me know your thoughts about this in the comments down below. Let me know how excited you are for the Spider-Verse and Spider-Man No Way Home. Be sure to subscribe so you don't miss out on any of the latest Spider-Man news. Don't forget to like the video,
Look,
and of course for live updates you can
let me
follow
tell you
me on
something.
Instagram and
If
Twitter.
it's
As always,
not-
thank you all so much for watching. Woof woof.
if it doesn't include the other two Spider-Men, man, I'm going to be pissed off. I mean, why include Doc Ock from the past? I mean, from a different universe, if you're not going to show the Spideys. That wouldn't make any sense. That would not make any sense whatsoever. I would flip the fuck out. Whether the movie was good or not, because we've been thinking it with him. Oh my God, I would be so fucking mad, man. So they got to be in there. At least one of them's got to be in there. At least Toby or something. Or a situation, like I said, where, yeah, and I don't want this, but you know, you can take a older movie and put Tom in it to make it look like, you know, maybe he sees Peter and the other Peter, and he sneaks past him or something, so he doesn't want to mess up time or the time, how time went. Remember, like Back to the Future, they would show stuff like that. You know what I mean? That's what I mean. But anyway, thank you very much for this news, Cosmic Wonder. Get over there and subscribe to them. Tell them Tyrone Magnus sent you. 10 million subscribers. Woo!